Kate, thank you so much. That was great. So good to have you here. So now I have the honor of kicking off the award ceremony, and we're really grateful to have Connecticut Innovations as our platinum sponsor for this event. They've really been such great partners to us. And Dan, oh, here's Dan. Dan's the man with the big checks. He's, where are the checks? Ah, the big checks are coming. Hopefully you guys have had a chance to meet some of the Connecticut Innovations folks that were here today. There was pretty much the whole crew was here. This year we were really thrilled to have an expanded program where the Connecticut Innovations portfolio companies were also presenting upstairs, and I don't know if any of you got up there, but it was packed, so that was fabulous. So I'm going to let Dan come here and say a few words about Connecticut Innovations, and as soon as these checks are up, we will then roll. Dan?
Well, I wasn't planning on speaking long, but thanks for having me to help hand out the prizes here. But Connecticut Innovations is happy to be a partner in this event and a partner with OCR for many years, helping try to get some of these wonderful technologies off the ground and commercialized. CI is the strategic investment arm of the state of Connecticut, and we typically play on the earlier side of things. Our portfolio is very large and very early. And we have over 150 companies here in the state that we're supporting, trying to move them to the next level to attract the next customers, talent, and venture dollars. That's about it. I don't have anything else to say, but let's give away some prizes.
Let's see, I think we're doing biotech first. Where are the biotech? Oh, the biotech checks are over there. As I call you guys, come on up, and let's see, how do they get on stage? You have to come around to the walkways on the sides. So for the biotech pitch contest, we are very pleased to announce that in third place, winning, what's that check say, $2,500? That's not too bad. Third place, Systolics, John Deacon. And John, you actually more excited about the check than the. Okay. All right. In second place, Aliv V5 Therapeutics, Shukri Ben Mamoon. And in first place in the biotech pitch contest, Periozyme, Demetrius Braddock. Where is Demetrius? Accepting for Demetrius is. That's all right. All right. And now I'm now going to have my colleague Jim Boyle come on up. Jim, are you here? Jim Boyle. Where is everybody today? Enjoying the sun. Jim, here he comes. Jim, are you ready with has the accounting firm provided the results? Yeah. All right, thank God. Here he comes. Very good.
Sorry. Good afternoon. So we're pleased to announce the winners on the tech and the medtech side of the house for the number 3 team? Okay. For the number 3 team, it's Hypnos, which is led by Vivek Rajathnam. And hopefully with this support, Vivek will be outfitting you all with portable EEG monitors in the near future so we can all monitor you all for microsleep when you're working. Congratulations. Okay. The number 2 team on the tech side is Neuroprobe, led by Hiten Zaveri, Mark Reed, and Dennis Spencer. Very good, very good. This is a slightly more serious device. You actually don't want one of these put into your head if not unless absolutely necessary. And without any further ado, the number 1 team on the tech side, ACIS, ACIS, led by Amir Moore. Exploiting electrical resistivity to solve all the world's problems. Yeah.
We've got your notes here.
Yes. Oh, they're there. Okay, good. I saw that. Thanks.
All right.
Okay.
All right, ready? 3, 2, I'm going to give you a big smile. All right, thank you.
There you go. There you go. Congratulations. Thank you very much. So it's also my pleasure to introduce the Blavatnik portion of the program. I have to say, of all the things that I've experienced at Yale in the many years I've been working here, it's more than 15 now since I came back to Yale from industry. I think Blavatnik has been singular in the way it's drawn the broader Yale community into thinking about commercialization and how to build problems. They're going to build solutions to problems that the world has broadly. Even though the fund is focused narrowly right now on life sciences in general and perhaps therapeutics in particular, we see, my colleagues and I here in the university, in the administration, see an outpouring of interest on the part of faculty and postdocs and grad students to better understand how do they frame all the technologies that they're trying to bring to bear and describe them to industry and to investors in more straightforward ways. And just in the last few years since we've started Blavatnik, we are surrounded not just by great, brilliant scientists, but now we see this very large influx of folks from industry who are coming into our offices to serve as advisors and mentors and prospective investors. We have a great group of people who've come into the office to work as entrepreneurs and residents, some of whom we're actually hopeful in turning into early stage CEOs for our companies as well. It's a fantastic opportunity to engage young scientists as well and young business development people, which is what's given rise to the Blavatnik Fellowship, and I'll say more about that in just a second. And I think it's really engaged both biotech and pharma to look at Yale more seriously and to really understand that we're trying to figure out the best and most expeditious way to help translate technologies that in our hands are working great in the lab, but we know we have to be able to prove that it's working great in someone else's hands too, which is how the Blavatnik Fund is really energizing us, because we know we have to make things work in the hands of outside CROs. So I think it's been a phenomenal process, and we couldn't be happier to be a part of it. I really want to say something about, in my role as the mentor for the Blavatnik Fellows, I think as a component of the overall Blavatnik experience, the Fellows have been instrumental. I think in many ways, they've been sort of the element that's really greased the skids the most, if you will, because I think the Fellows have, both the Fellows and the PhD and the PhD and the MBA and the MD students who've worked with them as their helpers. I think this entire mindset towards how do we think in a very, very structured way towards how do we create business opportunities for these technologies. I think the Fellows have been sort of at the vanguard at that point, and for that we're very, very grateful. And I've learned a lot, actually, in working with the Fellows, who we went through, my colleagues and I went through great pains this past year to think about how do we really enrich their experiences and create something for them that shows them how to go from being bench scientists to business leaders. And we're really very fortunate to have Tim and Caroline and Milicia and Soren as our inaugural class, because they've just been phenomenal people to work with, and I love them like my own children, so I'm really, really happy about that. And I guess, am I allowed to announce the new Fellows? I'm allowed to do that. So with the coming of the new academic year, we're eager to usher in the next class of Blavatnik Fellows. And as you would imagine, the PR that our inaugural class generated was fairly substantial. I think a year ago when I went up to faculty and said, hey, you want to work with the Blavatnik Fellow? The usual response I got a year ago is, what's that? Well, now everyone knows what fellows are, so I think we have a much more interest in fellows being deployed to work with PIs who have interesting projects. So without further ado, I'd like to, if we could switch the view graph, announce the new fellows who are coming to us beginning this June. Megan and Jameson and Natalie and Jiao, I think are going to make a huge difference in the projects that we take on this coming year. And again, I have to thank my colleagues in OCR and all of our EIRs, and especially the inaugural fellows who were very instrumental in helping pick this new class out. So with that, a round of applause for the new fellows. And last but not least, before we announce the Accelerator Awards, we'd like to give you a brief video that basically describes the process in terms of how it works for the faculty. So with that, I'll let you watch the show.
In science, when you want to move beyond discovery, when you've actually made a big finding and you want to turn it into reality, the type of funding we get from the federal government is not at all useful for those types of studies.
I'm trained originally as a chemist, and I've learned that there are a vast number of systems in biology where if we could just take a good look at them, we could learn all about how to modulate them.
The Blavatnik gift has really been transformative for our work.
The Blavatnik Award has allowed us to de-risk many of the components of this project to establish a solid proof of principle.
So this is really important stuff that we're doing. The Blavatnik Fund will get us to a point where we can truly commercialize.
Way too many people are touched by Alzheimer's. My father, my grandmother suffer with the disease. I'm driven to make this succeed. Although we have some medications that are FDA approved that reduce symptoms a little bit, we don't have any disease-modifying therapies for Alzheimer's. My name's Steve Strittmatter. I'm a professor in the neurology and the neuroscience department at Yale. These Blavatnik programs are really helpful to try to move these discoveries in the laboratory into drugs that we can test for their benefit in the clinic.
The great fortune just recently of having our 7th FDA approval for a new medicine coming out of Yale Research. Hi, I'm Bill Wiesler. I am part of the Office of Cooperative Research, and I'm the director of the Blavatnik Fund for Innovation at Yale. The Blavatnik Fund is greatly accelerating our ability to fulfill our mission in the Office of Cooperative Research, which is to take the great life science innovations out of the labs and to see them turn into new medicines and new products. We're only just getting started with this fund, but already we've seen so many great impacts around campus.
I applied to develop an idea that I had about how to stimulate the innate immune system in human beings. I'm Anna Marie Pyle. I'm Sterling Professor at Yale University, and I'm also a Howard Hughes Medical Institute investigator. Based on that, I was able to design molecules that could turn on the innate immune system at will. What we would like to do now is expand on that and find new classes of molecules for antimicrobials.
Our initial goal, actually, like many academic projects, wasn't actually to make a drug. It was to test a fundamental question in biology. Hi, my name's Aaron Ring. I'm an assistant professor of immunobiology at the School of Medicine. So what we've done is we have made the type of drug that most pharmaceutical companies wouldn't typically pursue. We took a patient's own immune signaling molecule called a cytokine, and instead of accepting nature's solution, we engineered it to control how our immune system's responding to cancer, to autoimmune disease, to other aspects of our physiology.
The first award from Blavatnik really got us off the ground in the most vulnerable time for a new company. I'm Paul Turner. I'm the Elihu Professor of Ecology and Evolutionary Biology at Yale University, and I'm also a microbiology faculty member at Yale School of Medicine. Millions of people worldwide have lung ailments that make them very vulnerable to bacterial diseases. And those bacterial infections are sometimes multi-drug resistant, so there may be no drugs, literally, to help these patients. In our particular technology, it's all about getting a dose of bacteriophage, viruses that we would use in treatment, prepared properly under ideal manufacturing practices. And we've been able to do that in our laboratory for personalized medicine approaches, but to actually run a clinical trial takes a tremendous amount of resources.
One of these studies that we did with the Blavatnik GIF was actually larger in scale than an entire year's worth of an R01 award. There's no way that any lab could afford to do a singular study like that, okay? But without those types of studies, we would be in this valley of death where we would not be able to move from the academic discovery in a lab to a tangible, real clinical candidate.
We had been working with OCR on projects that were coming out of my lab that could have potential innovative avenues. My name's Anton Bennett. I'm a professor in the Department of Pharmacology. My lab focuses on the role of protein phosphorylation and cell signaling and how those pathways are connected to cell disease. It was clear that the Blavatnik Award was exactly what we really needed. We've taken all that we've learned from the Blavatnik Award and we've identified some new targets, and we're going to use similar approaches on a completely different disease mechanism, utilizing some of that earlier information to guide us through a process where we can develop new therapeutics for this particular type of disease. The broad goal is that we can at least provide insight into new potential therapeutics to diseases such as liver disease that are going to help potentially millions of people.
OCR and Blavatnik support are really key at this very first step of moving from discovery down this long path. Without OCR's involvement, things will just be interesting discoveries, but they'll stop, they'll die. And so having a partnership from the Cooperative Research Office is what allows things to get down the road and to actually be tested and make a difference for people.
That was great. And now for our grand finale, we will be presenting the Blavatnik Awards. These awards are made to faculty with projects that best meet the following criteria. The research addresses an important unmet medical need. The project has strong indications of commercial interest. The technology is near a value inflection point. The technology is patentable with freedom to operate. And the principal investigator is engaged and committed to the commercialization process. So our winners today were part of an 84 project applicant pool that went through a 6-month selection process, culminating in today. We had 64 quarterfinalists that went through a pitch-off with over a dozen local investors and executives. 35 semifinalists were selected to refine their pitch and present publicly at Pitch Fest this past December. And a select group of 14 finalists were selected by our advisory board, and they spent an intensive 4 months developing their full proposals. So before we announce the awards, it's my great pleasure to introduce to you Peter Schiffer, our Vice Provost for Research and Professor in Applied Physics.
All right. Thank you, Bill. It is my pleasure, before we announce the awards, to say thank you to Mr. Len Blavatnik and the Blavatnik Family Foundation, tell you just a little bit more about the awards. The Blavatnik Family Foundation has been a huge supporter globally of science and of biotechnology in particular, and we are incredibly grateful here at Yale for their support of our researchers and for getting these technologies out into market. The Fund for Innovation at Yale, the Blavatnik Fund, was just started a few years ago. It was kicked off in 2016, and we've got a total commitment from the Blavatnik Family Foundation of $25 million. And as Jim Boyle said, it's been immense in its impact for the number of people, the level of enthusiasm, the just sheer torrent of ideas and innovations that are aimed toward market now from our biotech sector. It's been an enormous cultural boost for us here, and it's something that we're very proud of for our faculty and other researchers who participated, and like I said, very grateful for the Blavatnik Family Foundation for supporting. It's been a $25 million commitment so far. We've had, if you add up the numbers that they've been given, well over 200 applications, 21 awards so far, gonna have some more soon, and 4 Blavatnik Fellows that have been working for the last year, another 4 coming up. And maybe most importantly, even though this is a very new program, we already have a major pharma license deal, and we have 2 startups, venture-backed startups, that have come out of this program. So it's really been a wonderful, wonderful boost for us. So let me say it once again. Thank you to the Blavatnik Family Foundation, and thank you to the Office of Cooperative Research, who staffs, makes sure that everything works well. And thank you also, and I'm not sure if any of them are still here, but to our advisory board, a bunch of high-profile venture folks who spend a few days a year helping us choose the awardees. And without their work and their effort, and I will say their rather tough grilling of our faculty, we would not be able to choose such high-quality projects. So with that, I will hand the podium back to Bill, who will announce the awards.
So if we could advance the slide, please. Our first awardee is City Chen and his project Crispio Biotechnologies, powerful platform for technologies for novel IO targeting. Good job, man. Thank you. And City, stay on stage for a group picture there. Okay. Our next awardee, John Deacon, Cytosolics. Okay, the slides are jumping around. The next awardee, as you just saw, Naftali Kaminsky, Vitex Therapeutics. Very good. And our next awardee, Andrew Maranker, ADM Therapeutics. Our next awardee, Anna Pyle, Intronistat Therapeutics. Our next awardees are team effort, collaborators Aaron Ring and Andrew Wong.
Yeah, one on each side, that's right. Thanks.
Our next awardee is David Spiegel, Moda Pharmaceuticals. And our final awardee of the afternoon, Paul Turner, Felix Therapeutics. Okay, John.
Yeah, that's it. All right, you guys. Let's get it. Kind of right in the middle, and it's scrunch tight. Come on from the back. You don't have to do 2 rows, we just kind of stagger shoulders. Bill, come on. And then get in tight. Take. And step back here. You go forward. Don't hide. Don't be hide. Am I missing? All right. Smile. Everyone, right in the lens.
See, if we start clapping now, they'll actually start smiling. All right, thank you, everyone. All right, so now I've got the dubious honor of standing between you and the reception, so I'm going to make this really fast. I want to first start off by thanking Annie and Sean and Kate for amazing keynote presentations. These things just get better and better, and I am totally amazed and awed that they are willing to come and join us from a long distance. But truly, thank you very much for that. I want to thank all our moderators, our panelists. I have heard so many positive things during the course of the day. First and foremost about the quality of the presentations, but also the quality of the people. I mean, it's just been freaking phenomenal, and I can't thank you enough. I want to thank our pitch contestants, even if you didn't win. A lot of activity around the e-posters today, especially at lunchtime. I find it really amazing because it gets so noisy in the courtyard. I'm surprised that you can even have a conversation going on. But it has been truly a phenomenal day. But thank you to all of you for just being here today, because without you, we can't do this. But I want to also say thank you again to Connecticut Innovations for all the amazing support they've given us, to the School of Management for allowing us to use this facility. I met the dean earlier today, and I said, thank you for using the building. He said, using it? You guys are inhabiting it. And I said, isn't that the point? But it's been great. So with that, there is a reception across the street at the Peabody Museum, and I expect to see most all of you there. So please come join us one more time. Thank you.